Okay, so now we are ready to start installing the servos into the frame of the helicopter. But before I start, I would just like to point out that this is not a movie about how to build the specific helicopter. This movie is more aimed at trying to make you understand the basic setup that you would require to do with any helicopter. It doesn't matter what make or model it is. The basic standard setup is what I'm trying to bring across. Okay, so with this specific make and model helicopter, the one servo fits in there, the other servo fits on top here, and then there's one servo that fits inside the mainframe on the inside there. Okay, so what I'm going to be doing now is just quickly fit the servos so that I can show you how to sub-trim and give you an idea, an indication of what to look for, so that when you start with your setup, that the servos is correctly set, so that you can just work your way upwards into the head. That would be my aim for this movie for this week. So let me get the servos installed, and then we can talk further from there. Before I leave, I've just got a couple of tools that I normally use set around me, which is a curved nose pliers, just standard long nose pliers, the little screws and nuts and bolts for the servos, and my screwdrivers, in case you wondered why I've got the tools here. It's just to facilitate installing the servos. Okay, so I'm going to quickly install the servos, and then once they're installed, I can show you what it looks like, and then we'll continue with the sub-trimming. Okay, as you can see, I've installed the servos now. The next thing that I want to do is I want to take my little receiver, and then as per the specific chopper manual, I want to connect the servos up precisely where it needs to be for the different channels, because that's going to be quite important when you sub-trim on your radio, because on the radio you don't sub-trim per servo, you sub-trim for a specific channel. So in other words, you would sub-trim it for either the aileron or the elevator or the pitch channel on the radio. So I'm just quickly going to grab the manual for the specific chopper, and then going to connect my receiver up, and then from there I'll show you how to sub-trim all the different, or what it should look like rather, once you've sub-trimmed. Okay, so I have now connected all my cyclic servos to the receiver as it would be should I be flying. As you can see, I've got a long lead here, which just basically runs to my battery, that prevents me, or that allows me to just lift this up to show you better and closer to the camera. Right, so okay, let's start. The first thing that you want to do is just basically make sure that your cyclic stick is set at 50%. Now on my DX radio, I've got a very nice feature called monitor, whereby I can see immediately if my throttle stick and my pitch and everything is set to 0, as I can see here. Okay, so it's very important that before you start sub-trimming, that your all your sticks and all your controls are centered without any whatsoever trims installed. Okay, so from there on, what we do is, you need to check, you need to see that between that point and that point, if I were to put a straight line through that, through the center of where the servo horn attaches to the servo and your bore link, if you put straight line through there, that has to be absolutely parallel with your servo. With this one, I'm so close, but I'm just going to try and sub-trim it a little bit. So if I go to the sub-trim section on my DX8 radio, which is under the servo setup section, and I will put it to sub-trim. This specific servo is on the elevator channel, and then I'm going to sub-trim it until oh, I'm sorry, my mistake. This is actually on the pitch channel. So let's just move to the pitch channel. Ah, there she goes. Okay, so you want to subtrim your servo until the center line, the virtual line that you draw through the little screw that screws into your servo and your bore link, that little line where the holes are, needs to be parallel with your servo. Okay, so that center line needs to be parallel with that servo, and this one is parallel. I hope you guys can see. Let me just turn it. I hope you guys can see there that it's pretty parallel. Okay, so now we move over to the other servo. Now this one is also very, very close. I sometimes just move it just to make sure the servo knows it's centered. Okay, so I'm going to go to, I think this is my aileron channel, and I'm going to subtrim this little servo until it looks like it's parallel. You do get special tools that can do this. To this stage in South Africa, I have not seen tools on the market, so if you want them, you'll probably have to import from overseas. Okay, so that servo is pretty much, that was only 8 trim clicks, which is very, very good. That's more or less what you would normally look for when you want to subtrim the servo. Okay, then the last one, which is the elevator one. Now the elevator one, you can see is way out. Unfortunately, I ran out of servo arms for this specific servo, which is this the Turnigy 3-pack servos that I bought from Wi-Fi. And what I want to do now is just move to my elevator channel, and I want to subtrim it, and then hopefully, oh, that's the wrong way. You can see there it moves down, and there we go. Let me just inspect this way, a little bit up. Okay, now this was a 33 click trim, which is not too bad, but as I say, you want to get it as close to home as possible. So you want to try and prevent having to subtrim at all, if it was possible, because you want to have the servo as close as possible to its natural center position. Okay, and then we just move it around a bit to make sure it centers properly. And yes, I think what I want to do is just give this a bit more. Okay, so I've set it down to 36. I'll set it down to 36, and it looks perfect to me now if I look at it at the camera. Okay, so this is the very first step that you would do in setting up your helicopter for CCPM, is make sure that your base, which is your servos, is actually set to 90 degrees. Okay, so next time what we'll do is I will have the head attached to the helicopter, and I will have the very basic CCPM system installed on the helicopter, and then we will continue with the setup from there. Till next time. Take me up, baby.